Hi everybody, my name's Hillary Wright.
And I'm Elizabeth Ward.
And we're the authors of the Menopause Diet Plan. And today we thought we would talk about the issue of dietary supplements because we get that question a lot. And so we thought maybe we'd start by just mentioning what we take because people always want to know like dietitian stuff. Like, oh, you're a dietitian, what do you take? So I take this is a Centrum Silver, but it doesn't necessarily have to be this brand. Just a good quality multivitamin, multi-mineral supplement. I look for one that has at least 25 micrograms of vitamin D because that's important, particularly as we get older. And I also have extra vitamin D pills that occasionally I'll take a little extra in the winter months just to boost my levels a little further.
And I take the same. Sometimes I take a little bit of extra vitamin C, but not a lot, about 200 milligrams a day, because that's the amount you need to saturate the tissues in your body. And sometimes I take a little bit of extra calcium because I don't get, the amount of calcium that I need as a 51-plus-year-old woman. Do you?
51 plus. Probably not, but I there's a little bit of extra calcium in here. I try to get at least half of my calcium. Yeah, there's 300 milligrams of calcium in this, and we need 1,200 milligrams.
Right, a day.
And I'm a big dairy person, but it probably would not be a bad idea for me to occasionally at least take some extra calcium as well.
It's impossible.
Good reminder.
It's impossible to put all of the calcium that a woman age 51 and older needs in a multivitamin. It would be about this big. So calcium is very, very bulky. So after age 51, you need a little bit more calcium because by losing estrogen, you don't absorb the calcium as well. And vitamin D, we're very, very big on. You don't need any more after 50, but you do need enough. So,
well, yeah, because it has a lot of functions beyond keeping your bones strong. And humans are supposed to synthesize from sun exposure, which we don't get. Anybody who lives above, Atlanta, Los Angeles latitude does not get enough year-round sun exposure. And even when you're out in the winter, like this, vitamin D levels are actually the lowest in March.
Yes.
And the highest in August. So here we are in Boston in March.
With vitamin D
lagging vitamin D levels.
Not us, though.
Except for these. But that is a really good example of why vitamin D is important because we're not really designed to eat it, and most dietary sources are there because it's fortified. So.
But the thing about food is that it's such a crappy source of vitamin D.
Right.
Because as Hillary said, we weren't meant to eat it. We're supposed to be making it in response to strong sunlight. But as Hillary also likes to say, we're not running around naked near the equator all year. So we don't make enough vitamin D. We're supposed to be
But pickled herring is really high in vitamin D, but I had that once. Not for me.
Not for you. And but salmon and tuna are really good sources of vitamin D. But again, you have to be eating these things every day. Of course, fortified milk is a really good source too.
Right.
So, but we're going to venture to guess that most people don't get enough vitamin D if they're not taking a multivitamin or an extra supplement. So calcium goes up, needs go up. Vitamin D needs don't go up, but they do. We don't think people get enough. Talk a little bit about vitamin B12 and medications.
So as people get older, they often end up on prescription medications and nutrient drug interactions. We learned about those aggressively as nutrition interns. At this stage of life, there are a lot of women who are taking medications like omeprazole, also called Prilosec.
And
Nexium and metformin, which is a first-run diabetes drug. Both of which, if you're on them for a long time, so many people are on those for a long time, may eventually create a B12 deficiency. So that right there is a really good reason to take a multivitamin, multi-mineral supplement that has B12 in it, a decent dose.
Yeah.
Outside of that, generally, people who are vegans need B12 supplementally.
They need a multivitamin. Definitely.
Yeah. So just be mindful of a lot of people don't read the fine print, and I'm not even sure nutrient drug interactions are in those things that come with your drugs, but do read up and see if any of the medications you're taking interfere with your nutrient absorption.
So there's one nutrient that you don't need a lot of after menopause, and that is iron. So that's one that goes down because you lose most of your iron through bleeding every month. So when you stopped with your period, you don't need iron. So Hillary was joking about the Centrum Silver, and You know, and I was
That's
saying
the big difference.
anything with the word silver in it means that it's, and you have to read the label though, but it's likely that it doesn't have iron in it. And that's a supplement that you want if you no longer have your period. Okay. And then you were making the point earlier about going through perimenopause when you might have heavier periods.
Right. So it can be like really intense. Periods can be farther apart, really heavy when they show up. And so that is a period of time when you probably still do need supplemental iron.
Right.
So even if you're over 51 and you still are not in menopause yet, it's probably good to stick with one that has iron in it.
I don't think it's great to go by age. I mean, I think those guidelines are for everybody, but you know, you have to think about your own special situation, like Hillary was saying. So there's a couple of other nutrients that we want to talk about that aren't really available or are hardly ever available in multivitamins: choline and omega-3 fats. And choline is it's an essential nutrient, but it's one that most women don't know anything about and they don't get enough of. And choline has to do with your brain function and other things too. But as we get older, our brain shrinks a little bit. And
don't
sorry,
me.
I'm sorry.
I hate when you say that. It's like such a bad visual.
Your brain isn't going to shrink.
No.
But so and particularly the area that keeps our memories, the hippocampus. So choline feeds the hippocampus and is very necessary for those cells. So we want to make sure you get enough. If you don't eat a lot of animal foods, you probably aren't getting enough. So look for a separate supplement of choline. 550 milligrams a day is good. And then fish. If you're not eating fish twice a week, you probably need omega-3 fats, which are good for your heart and your brain.
Right. And probably other things.
Yeah.
But do try to eat fish if you can.
Yeah, if you can,
because
try to work
including
it in.
seafood in the diet is a healthy thing for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, and we'll do another piece about that soon.
Right.
Okay, so
That's it.
make sure you look at your own situation. Don't just take a lot of supplements, throw it at a bad diet, and think that it's going to fix it.
No.
It won't.
Food first.
Food first. Bye.
Bye.